Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Liz Experiment. This is the YouTube channel where I share field notes from my journey towards architecting my best life. And I'm here again in the Oakland mountains for at least another few days. I'm pet sitting a lovely and now friendly but still very shy Formosa mountain dog named Faye. So she refuses to get on camera. But I'm going to try the old turn the video trick to see if I can introduce you to her. So bear with me here. Where are you, Faye? Not doing this? Oh, there she is. Yeah. So she's hanging out with me today as I talk to you about what happened this week. So as I said, I'm here in Oakland. I'm with Faye, and I've been doing a lot of awesome things. I've gotten to see a lot of friends, spend some time in San Francisco. It's not my favorite city, but I have a new appreciation for it, mostly because my friends are there, let's be honest. But it is beautiful in its own right. I'll leave it at that. So I wanted to talk about, as I share field notes on the channel, what I try to do is talk about what I learned this week and what I've been working on. And so there's some major themes that came up this week. And my week started with a text message on, I release this on Thursdays in whatever time zone I'm in. So it was Friday morning. I received a text message from a group chat that I'm on talking about how one of my friends' apartment buildings in New York was pretty much burned, completely totaled. She was rescued. All the people got out fine. I think one dog's had died from inhalation and suffering, but the dog alerted people, so it's kind of like the dog was an angel, so that was cool, but it was sad that the dog died. So I'm seeing these text messages come through, and I'm noticing how I don't feel anything. Like, I'm not nervous, I'm not scared, I have zero emotion. And then I noticed myself starting to kind of replay this old narrative that I always replay, which is, let me make sure I got it right. I wrote it down so I didn't screw it up. The narrative is, I don't know what to do in these situations. I was never taught. I'm a terrible friend. Yada, yada, yada. So that's happening. And then I click on the link to the news video because the fire was so tremendous that it was on ABC News. And I see the extent to the damage to the building, and I see my friend climbing down the ladder of the fire truck from her 5th floor apartment. And I observe myself start to feel something. And then I observe myself quickly stuff that feeling away. And I was like, I've been aware of this. This is not new, but I observed myself go through the process. And then I said, okay, I'm only letting myself feel on my own terms. But if there's pain or if there's fear, I have shut that down in my life. So that theme comes up later in the week when a few days ago, I was having this really bad day, just a really rough day where I was feeling a lot of regret and guilt. And I was spinning out of control, like, what am I doing with my life? Why am I a nomad? What is my purpose? Everybody else has it figured out. Right? I mean, everybody, you guys all have it figured out. You know exactly what you're doing, right? But that's where I was going with it. And after beating myself up for a few hours, which is what I usually do, this is not new action. This is how I treat myself on a normal basis. I start to connect the dots that by ignoring all of the bad feelings, I'm not learning about myself. I'm not dealing with life. And I know this is not new. This is my friend has walked me through this a million times, but I finally started actually feeling it and internalizing that, really internalizing what I was doing to myself, what I've been doing to myself for 36, almost 37 years on Tuesday, March 12th. So through that, I got to a point the other day when I was connecting these dots and I said, you know what? All of this time that I spend trying to make myself better with, education and knowledge, which is all good, and reading books and all those things are good, but they're all distracting me from figuring myself out. And if I figure myself out and if I go towards these hard feelings and let myself feel them, then I can actually move through life without beating myself up. Because what I'm really beating myself up about is all the repressed feelings, right? Again, I've known this, but it's just like I've known this conceptually, maybe not at this depth, but it all came together for me this week. And so that night, like I said, when I started really getting into this, I was like, you know what? I don't want to live a life of distraction anymore. I'm going to start going all in on self. And I have to define for myself what that looks like. It has to stem from me. And so some of the things I started to do was just, I just started Googling about things about finding my life purpose and going through the motions of, I don't want to say going through the motions, actually sitting with the emotions of pain and regret and fear that I've been repressing for so long. And this is going to be a years-long journey. I know that. And eventually, when I'm in a place for long enough, I shouldn't say that. Eventually, and hopefully sooner rather than later, but when I come to a place where I have a more clear perspective on my goals, I'll be working with professionals in this exact way. I don't want to say in the exact way, on this exact topic of finding self. But for now, turning towards myself has been a big, big part of this. Guys, I'm sorry, but Faye's like doing these really cute, like rubbing her face on the carpet, and you probably hear her clanging around on her. Sorry, if I was a little distracted there, it was my fault. So that was a huge, huge lesson this week. And it's funny because when I was doing yoga, Faye came in one morning and she looked at her shadow and it scared her. She's now going to bark at me. We may have to do a pause and come back. Are you going to keep barking? Okay, you just let me know. Anywho's, she looked at her shadow and she was scared. And I said out loud to her, I'm like, oh, look who's scared of their own shadow. And then I said to myself, look who's scared of their own shadow. Thanks for the lesson. So what else did I learn this week? Another thing that I learned this week, or that I started kind of thinking more about and working on, was I went to get my car washed in part of Oakland that is lower income. And it was this great place where they were hand washing the cars and vacuuming them out, and they took their time and they did really great work, and it was all manual labor, really. And it didn't take me long to notice that everybody that was sitting underneath the tent was white or looked white, and everybody who was working at the car wash was a person of color. So I sat with that, and I sat with my feelings around that. And I haven't gotten very far with that, and I'll admit that. That's a failing on my part. But I recognized, you know what, I have guilt around that I need to process and look into and actually sit with. So that was a lesson this week. Some other things that happened. You talked about your shadow. She's sitting right next to me. So some other things that happened that I was working on. I reached out to my sister-in-law, who is pregnant with my nephew, and I started helping plan the shower and that sort of thing, which feels great to be able to. I was always able to, but it felt great to take that initiative and start to reach out from afar and start to reintegrate myself into my family life and start to redefine how my family shows love to each other. And so that's going to be a theme that I'm sure we'll talk about for weeks and years to come, if I do this for years. And then, so lastly, something exciting that happened is that I planned my accommodation for Portugal, where I'll be this May with my friend Carol, who I will put a link to her business. It's called Travel Like a Local. And she helps put together retreats for female entrepreneurs in different locations. And so we're going to do that in May. And I helped book some of my own private accommodation outside of the retreat. So that's very exciting. And gosh, I think that's it. You know, that's what I'm working on this week. It's a lot. I kind of condensed it. To be honest, I already recorded this and then the sound didn't work. So I had to record it again. And then we had Faye here. It was a thing. But that was my week this week here in Oakland. Next week, I'll be coming to you from Bend, Oregon, after my birthday. So that'll be cool. what else? Oh, I share a lot of things on this channel, and I would love to hear from you about how you deal with certain life lessons that I bring up. Teaching your family how to love, going hard on yourself. If you can give me examples on how you figured yourself out or how you didn't, I want to hear it. That would be great. And after all of this, please, if you want to stay up to date, subscribe to the channel or like this video, and just help let me know that what I'm doing matters. You know what? It matters. But I'd like to hear it from you as well. That's it. Have a great week, y'all. Thanks for watching.